My child, if you give your warmth to every hand you meet, don't be surprised when you're left in the cold. The truth is, not everyone who smiles at you wants the best for you. Not everyone who calls you friend carries love in their heart. The world will take your kindness and turn it into their convenience if you let them. So today, I want you to remember this. Your kindness is sacred, your energy is divine, and your peace is not for public use. Stop being too friendly to everyone, because not everyone deserves the front row in your life. You see, we've been told since childhood, be nice, be polite, be friendly, but no one told us, protect your energy. No one said some smiles are sharp as knives. The truth, my dear, is simple. When you open your heart too wide, the wrong ones walk right in and rearrange your peace. Don't mistake friendliness for connection. Don't mistake attention for affection. And don't mistake familiarity for loyalty, because people will love your light until it starts shining brighter than theirs. Then suddenly that friend becomes distant, that bond feels one-sided, and that love feels heavy. So today I want you to learn the art of sacred distance. Be kind, but don't be careless. Be generous, but not gullible. Be open, but not exposed. When you stop being too friendly to everyone, you stop begging to be understood. You stop explaining your worth, and you start commanding respect. Not everyone deserves access to you, and that's one of the hardest lessons life will ever teach you. You see, the world will always want a piece of you, your time, your mind, your kindness, your energy, your light. People will come smiling with good words and soft intentions, but not all of them come to stay, and certainly not all come with love. Some come to take, some to test, and some to simply see how much of yourself you're willing to give before you finally break. You must learn that access to your soul is a privilege, not a public service. Everyone can know you, but not everyone should reach you. Just because someone texts you daily doesn't mean they deserve to know your dreams. Just because they laugh with you doesn't mean they wish you well. Just because they stand next to you doesn't mean they stand for you. There's a difference between someone who values you and someone who simply finds you convenient. Imagine you own a garden full of rare flowers, tenderly nurtured with love, patience, and time. You water it daily, protect it from storms, and smile as it blooms. Now, what happens if you leave the gate open for everyone to walk through? People will trample your flowers, pluck what they like, take selfies in your garden, and leave you with footprints and broken petals. That's what happens when you let everyone access your life. They enjoy the beauty you've built, but rarely understand the effort behind it. In your everyday life, this shows up quietly. You say yes to people who only call you when they need something. You lend your ear to those who never listen back. You bend your schedule to help someone who wouldn't even notice if you were struggling. You keep showing up for people who don't even check if you're okay. And you do it because you think being kind means being available. But listen closely. In being kind does not mean being accessible to everyone. Think of your phone for a moment. Every app doesn't get full permission, right? You limit access to your location, your photos, your data. Why? Because not every app can be trusted. Some just want to track you, some want to drain your battery, some even want to steal from you. Now imagine your life the same way. Why should every person have full permission to your peace, your time, your energy, and your emotions? Some people don't come to grow you, they come to use you until there's nothing left. You must learn to be selective, not arrogant, not rude, but wise. Don't let your kindness become your weakness. Let people earn your presence. Let consistency prove intention, because love is not spoken in words alone. It's revealed through effort, through action, through how they handle you when you're not shining. In your workplace, not everyone cheering for you wants you to rise higher. Some just want to see how far you go before you fall. In friendships, not everyone calling you sis or bro means it with truth. Some call you that to get close enough to study your secrets. And in relationships, not everyone saying I love you loves you. Some just love the comfort you bring, the attention you give, or the benefits you offer. You need to guard your access like a queen guards her crown. You can wave to the crowd, but not everyone deserves to sit beside your throne. There are people who will clap when you win, but sigh when you turn your back. Some will celebrate your success only until it outshines theirs. Don't let those people into your sacred space. Protect your soul like you protect your password. Because once people have it, they can enter places they never earned. Even in family and close circles, you must understand this truth. You can love people deeply and still keep your distance. Sometimes you must say, I love you, but I can't let you keep draining me. Sometimes silence speaks louder than explanations. Setting boundaries isn't cruelty, it's self-respect in action. You're not responsible for carrying people who refuse to walk on their own. Look at the sky. The sun doesn't rise in every window. It shines for all, but not everyone gets the same warmth. Some are in shade, some in storm, some too far away to feel it. But the sun never chases anyone, it just shines. And those who are meant to feel its light, that's how you must live. Be kind, but don't chase validation. Be loving, but not desperate for attention. Be open, but not exposed. People with pure hearts often get misunderstood. They think saying no is selfish. They think setting limits is unloving. But you can't pour from an empty cup. When you say no to others, you're saying yes to your peace. And that peace is where your power grows. The calmer you become, the clearer you see who truly deserves you. Remember how you lock your door at night? You don't do it because you hate people. You do it because you value safety. In the same way, emotional boundaries protect the home of your heart. If someone knocks, you can decide whether to open or not. If they demand entry, that's your sign to close the door tighter. You owe explanations to no one for protecting your energy. Don't confuse isolation with elevation. Sometimes God pulls you away from certain people, not because you're better, but because He's preparing you for better. Some people cannot go where you're headed. If you keep giving them access, they'll keep pulling you back to where they're comfortable, and comfort zones are where dreams go to die. So watch who gets close, notice who brings peace and who brings pressure, who listens when you speak, and who speaks only to be heard, who respects your silence, and who invades it. Life is not about how many people you have around you, it's about how many protect your peace when you're not around. Your energy is currency. Spend it wisely. Invest it in people who multiply it, not those who drain it. When you start valuing access to yourself, the world will too. When you treat your heart as sacred, others will learn it's not a place they can enter casually. You are not a convenience. You are a blessing. And blessings are meant to be cherished, not used. Kindness doesn't mean availability. That single truth can save your soul from exhaustion. You see, the world often confuses kindness with being at everyone's service. They say, "You're so kind, you're always there for me." But what they often mean is, you're easy to reach, easy to use, and too afraid to say no. There's a quiet tragedy in how many people mistake being good-hearted for being endlessly available. But your heart is not an open-door policy. Your kindness is not a subscription service. You are not required to respond to every call, heal every pain, or show up for every person who demands a piece of you. Think about it. You can smile at everyone without inviting everyone into your peace. You can help without being held hostage by people's expectations. The truth is, when you're always available, people stop valuing your presence. They start to see your yes as their right, not your gift. They begin to expect from you what they should be doing for themselves. It's not their fault entirely. It's the way you've trained them. You taught them you'd answer the phone at midnight. You taught them you'd cancel your plans to fix their chaos. You taught them you'd show up even when you were tired. And in doing so, you accidentally made your kindness seem ordinary. Let me tell you something. Ordinary kindness doesn't exist. Every act of kindness costs you something. Time, energy, emotional space. And if you keep giving that away without limits, you'll find yourself running on empty, wondering why you feel unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. People don't notice what doesn't inconvenience them. When your kindness is constant, it becomes background noise. But when you step back, suddenly they notice the silence. Take the example of a teacher. She stays after class to help students, gives up her lunch break, grades late into the night. She does it because she cares. But the moment she decides to leave school on time, people say she's changed. No, she hasn't changed. She just stopped being available at the cost of her own peace. Or think of a friend who's always the listener. Everyone comes to her with problems, but no one ever asks how she's doing. She becomes the emotional sponge, absorbing everyone's pain until she starts drowning in her own. That's not kindness. That's self-neglect, dressed up as compassion. Even in relationships, we confuse love with availability. You keep answering texts even when they ignore yours. You keep showing up, hoping they'll see your effort. You keep forgiving even when they don't apologize. But love without boundaries becomes weakness. You think your loyalty will change them, but all it changes is your own peace. Real love doesn't demand your exhaustion. Real love respects your limits. Look at your phone again. When the battery is low, it shows a red signal. It doesn't keep powering every app. It doesn't keep playing music or videos just because you want it to. It demands to be charged. Yet you, my dear, ignore your own red signals every day. You feel drained, but you still say yes. You feel overwhelmed, but you still pick up that call. You feel hurt, but you still show up with a smile. You keep running on emotional fumes because you fear disappointing people. But the ones who truly love you won't be disappointed by your boundaries. They'll be proud of your strength to have them. Kindness is powerful when it's balanced with wisdom. If you give everything, you teach others to take without gratitude. If you never say no, your yes loses its meaning. People start thinking you're supposed to fix their problems. They don't realize you're human too, that your kindness doesn't come from endless supply, it comes from emotional labor. You pour into others, but who's pouring into you? You give comfort, but who comforts you when you're tired? You're not a machine made to respond to everyone's need. You're a soul who deserves rest, silence, and solitude. Consider a doctor who keeps helping patients without taking a day off. Eventually, his own health fails. Then who helps him? Or a parent who sacrifices everything for their children, never resting, never saying no. One day they collapse and everyone wonders why. Because no one noticed their quiet exhaustion. That's what happens when you mistake kindness for constant presence. The world gets used to you being superhuman. Until you remind them you're not. You don't have to be everywhere to be kind. Sometimes kindness is in saying, I can't right now. Sometimes it's in letting others figure things out on their own. Sometimes it's in stepping away so you can heal. There's kindness in honesty too, in saying, I'm tired, I need rest, I need time. The world doesn't need another people pleaser. It needs people who love with strength and boundaries. You have to understand that people value what they wait for. They respect what's not easily available the same way we cherish rare things. People will cherish you more when your kindness is intentional, not automatic. Don't let guilt manipulate your generosity. You can say no and still be a good person. You can step back and still be caring. You can choose yourself and still be compassionate. Imagine a candle. It gives light, but if it burns too long without rest, it melts away. That's how kindness without boundaries feels. You give light until you lose your shape. You keep shining for others while your own flame gets weaker. True kindness knows when to pause. True kindness knows when to say, my light needs to rest so it can shine again. People may call you selfish when you start setting limits. Let them. They called Jesus selfish when he rested. They called strong women arrogant when they refused to be stepped on. They'll always criticize what they can't control. But your peace is not up for debate. Your time is not an all-access pass. And your kindness is not a ticket people can redeem whenever they please. Every day you wake up, remember this. You are allowed to take your kindness off the shelf and keep it for yourself sometimes. You are allowed to be unavailable while you heal, recharge, and rebuild. You are allowed to be kind from a distance. Because kindness without self-respect is not kindness, it's surrender. And you were never meant to surrender your spirit, to prove your goodness. People treat you how you allow them to. That is not just a phrase. It's one of life's rawest truths. A mirror that reflects how much you respect yourself. Every time you let someone cross a line and say it's okay, you teach them that your boundaries are flexible. Every time you stay silent when disrespected, you show them that silence is your acceptance. People don't always give you what you deserve. They give you what you tolerate. You set the tone for how the world treats you, not by what you demand, but by what you allow. When you think about your own life, notice the patterns. The friend who always cancels plans at the last minute but expects you to show up when they need company. They learn that you'll never say no. The partner who ignores your feelings and then sweet talks their way back. They learned you'll always forgive. The colleague who takes credit for your work. They realize you'll stay quiet to keep the peace. And the truth is you allowed it, maybe out of love, maybe out of fear, maybe out of hope that one day they'll treat you better. But people rarely change when there's no reason to. Think of it like this. You train people how to treat you through your reactions. If someone hands you disrespect and you accept it with silence, they'll hand you more. If they see you bend your values to keep them comfortable, they'll push further next time. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out, they're doors with locks. You decide who enters, how far they go, and when it's time for them to leave, there's a story that plays out in many homes. A mother who sacrifices everything for her family. She never says no. She's available at every hour, giving love, food, comfort, but the moment she takes one day for herself, everyone complains. Not because she stopped loving them, but because she taught them that her love has no limits, no boundaries. She showed them it was okay to take without giving back. That's what happens when kindness is not paired with strength. People will love you for your giving nature, but they will also unknowingly take advantage of it unless you show them how to love you, right? In friendships, you see the same thing. There's always that one person who only reaches out when they need something, a favor, a ride, advice, attention. You answer every time because you think loyalty means never saying no, but what happens? They stop respecting your time, your emotions, your life. They start seeing you as the friend who's always available. And the moment you set a boundary, they call you selfish, but you're not selfish. You're just teaching them a new way to treat you. Even at work, this truth echoes. Imagine an employee who never complains, takes on extra tasks, stays late, covers for others. The boss keeps giving more, never asking if they're okay. The co-workers stop pulling their weight. Why? Because you trained them that you'll do it all. You think your silence keeps harmony, but it only builds imbalance. The day you finally say, no, I can't take more, they'll be shocked. But it's not shock, it's discomfort. They're adjusting to your new boundaries and relationships. That's where this lesson cuts deepest. You teach your partner how to love you. If they yell and you forgive without a conversation, they'll yell again. If they lie and you stay because love is hard, they'll learn that dishonesty doesn't cost them your presence. If they neglect you and you chase them harder, they'll assume you'll always come back. You may call it love, but it's actually permission. The truth is, love without respect is just attachment disguised as affection. Look at life like a classroom. You're the teacher, and people around you are the students. Every time you let a wrong answer slide, they believe it's right. Every time you reward bad behavior with your presence, they think it's acceptable. Teaching others how to treat you isn't done through anger or lectures. It's done through boundaries, through actions that say, this is where I end and you begin. There's a difference between forgiveness and tolerance. Forgiveness frees and you, but tolerance feeds them. Forgive people for your peace, but never tolerate what breaks you in pieces. When you constantly excuse disrespect, you tell the world you're comfortable being disrespected, and the world listens carefully to your silence. A daily example of this truth plays out everywhere, from the friend who mocks your dreams, saying you're too ambitious, to the partner who dismisses your emotions with, you're overreacting. The moment you laugh it off, they feel permission to repeat it, but the moment you calmly say, don't speak to me like that, you shift the dynamic. You're no longer the one being treated poorly, you become the one who commands respect. Think about a lion. The lion doesn't roar to prove it's a lion. It walks with power, confidence, authority, and everything around it adjusts. That's how you must walk through life. When your energy says, I respect myself, people either rise to meet it or fall away. You never have to beg for respect when you carry yourself with quiet dignity. Sometimes people treat you poorly not because they're bad, but because you never showed them what good treatment looks like. Maybe you were taught that love means sacrifice, that keeping peace means staying silent. Maybe you feared losing people, so you tolerated their behavior. But let me tell you, the moment you start loving yourself loudly, you will lose people who prefer your silence. And that's okay. The right ones will never need you to shrink for them. This principle applies even to yourself. If you constantly disrespect your own time, goals, or values, you teach the world that it's okay to do the same. When you say yes to things you hate, when you stay in places that hurt, when you allow people to drain your energy, you tell the universe you're okay with less than you deserve. But when you stand up and say no more, everything begins to shift. People may not like the new you, but they will respect you. You don't earn respect by demanding it loudly. You earn it by living in a way that leaves no room for disrespect. Speak your boundaries with grace. Walk with your head high. And remember, every time you let something slide, you teach people how to treat you next time. You may not control others' actions, but you always control your access. The energy you tolerate becomes the standard you live by. Your silence speaks louder than niceness. The world teaches you to always respond, to explain, to justify, to defend. But there comes a moment in your life when words become unnecessary, when silence becomes your sharpest reply, when peace becomes your loudest power. You reach a point where you no longer argue to prove your worth. You no longer explain your intentions. You simply let your silence say what your words no longer need to. Because silence, when used with strength, is not weakness. It is wisdom, it is self-respect, it is knowing that you don't owe noise to those who refuse to understand your calm. There's a kind of magic in silence. It's not empty. It's full of answers that noise can't reveal. People think silence means defeat, but often it means you've risen above the battlefield. Niceness tries to convince others that you're good. Silence shows them you're grounded. Niceness is often about others. Silence is about you. When you stop speaking to defend yourself, you finally start listening to your own soul. Imagine this. Someone spreads rumors about you. They twist your words, question your character, and wait for your reaction. You could fight back, scream, argue, defend, but when you stay silent, their noise echoes against the wall of your calm. They expect a fight, but you give them stillness. And nothing frustrates chaos more than calm, because your silence tells them, I don't live where you left your drama. It tells them that your peace is worth more than your pride. In daily life, this lesson plays out everywhere. A friend betrays you, and instead of sending paragraphs of hurt, you stop calling. A coworker gossips about you, and instead of confronting them in anger, you let your work speak for itself. A partner disrespects you, and instead of arguing, you choose distance. Your silence in these moments is not cowardice, it's clarity, it's the realization that reacting gives power to the wrong people, but silence gives power back to you. Think of a mirror. When someone stands before it, it reflects exactly what's in front of it. No more, no less. That's what silence does. It reflects the truth back to those who need to see it. When you respond with noise, they can ignore their actions. But when you go silent, they're left facing themselves. They're forced to confront what they did because there's no distraction from your reaction. That's why silence scares people. It exposes them to themselves. In relationship, silence is the turning point between being understood and being drained. You can talk for hours trying to make someone see your value, your love, your pain, but if they don't care, no sentence will change their heart. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Let absence show them what presence meant. Let silence teach them the lesson that words couldn't. Niceness may make them comfortable, but silence makes them realize your worth. In friendships, silence is often mistaken for distance, but in truth, it's protection. You stop over-explaining why you couldn't make it, why you didn't text back, why you've changed. You stop being available for people who were never available for you. You stop filling every gap with words to make others feel okay, because you finally understand that not everyone deserves explanations, especially those who don't listen. At work, silence can be a superpower. When people try to provoke you, test you, or challenge your ideas just to make you react, silence becomes your armor. You don't lower yourself to arguments. You let your results speak. You don't waste time debating your value. You prove it through excellence. The quiet worker is often the most feared, not because they shout, but because they deliver. They don't need to announce what they're capable of. They let success make the noise. There's a saying, don't argue with a fool, because from afar no one can tell the difference. Silence protects your dignity in moments when anger would make you look small. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about channeling it. It's choosing maturity over reaction, peace over performance. You're not being silent because you have nothing to say. You're being silent because not everyone deserves to hear you speak. Niceness often comes from fear. Fear of being disliked, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being judged. So you overextend, over-explain, over-smile. You say yes when you want to say no. You keep being nice to people who've already shown you their cruelty. But silence breaks that cycle. It teaches you to be kind without being available, to be graceful without being weak. When you stop explaining yourself, you start reclaiming yourself. Think of storms. They make noise, but the most dangerous ones move silently. Think of deep oceans. They don't roar. They remain still yet powerful. Think of lions. They don't waste energy roaring at insects. That's the nature of power. The quieter it becomes, the more it commands respect. When your silence comes from strength, not fear, people begin begin to notice. They notice your distance. They notice your absence. They notice that you're no longer begging to be understood. Silence is the language of those who have mastered themselves. It's not about ignoring others. It's about prioritizing inner peace. It's what happens when you realize that explaining your worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding you is an insult to your own intelligence. When you stop talking, you stop giving others permission to twist your truth. You stop feeding the noise that tries to drown your voice. Picture yourself as a temple. Not everyone who enters brings flowers. Some bring dirt. Silence is the act of closing the doors when peace is threatened. It's saying, this sacred space isn't open to chaos. You don't need to yell to protect it. You just need to walk away quietly and let your absence echo louder than any argument. People remember silence, they forget words, they forget conversations, but they remember the day you stopped explaining. They remember the day you stopped reacting, because silence makes them question themselves, and that's the most powerful reaction of all. Silence is not the absence of voice, it's the presence of strength. It's the sound of knowing your value without shouting it. It's the decision to protect your soul from unnecessary noise. It's a love letter to your own peace, written in the language of restraint. You can smile at everyone, but that doesn't mean they love you. You can help everyone, but that doesn't mean they care about you. Being friendly is a beautiful trait, but don't confuse friendliness with love. Love demands depth. Friendliness is surface-level warmth. You can walk into a room and light it up with your energy, your laughter, your openness, yet leave that same room realizing no one truly sees you. That's the hard truth. Some people love your friendliness, not you. They love what they get from you. The attention, the comfort, the validation, not who you are when the lights go off and the smile fades. There's a difference between people who appreciate your light and those who only come close to stay warm. You can offer kindness and joy, but if you're not careful, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who only take, never give. Think about the sun. It shines for everyone, yet not everyone is grateful for it. Some hide from it, some complain about the heat, and some take its light for granted. You are like that sun, radiant, giving, friendly, but you must learn who is basking in your light with gratitude and who is just using your glow to see their own reflection. You see, being friendly often feels like the right thing because it makes you approachable, loved, accepted. But in truth, not everyone who laughs with you cares about you. Sometimes the same people who enjoy your jokes will go silent when you need them most. The same ones who praise your energy will disappear when your soul is tired. That's when you learn, love isn't about being liked, it's about being valued. Friendliness earns you smiles, love earns you presence. Imagine this, you always check in on a friend, texting them, asking if they're okay, bringing little gifts, being there in their worst times. But when your day of need comes, silence answers you back. That's when it hits. You were friendly, but they were not loving. You gave from your soul, but they only received from convenience. It's a painful awakening, yet necessary, because when you start seeing the difference, you begin protecting your heart from those who only like the idea of you, not your reality. Some people love your friendliness because it serves their ego. You make them feel seen, admired, important, but the moment you stop pouring into them, they withdraw. That's not love, that's dependence. Real love remains when the friendliness pauses, when the words stop, when the smiles fade, when the energy runs dry. If someone loves you only when you're friendly, they don't love in you. They love your performance. Don't be an actor in someone's story who claps only when you make them feel good. Be real enough to walk away when your authenticity is not appreciated. Think about workplaces. People who call you buddy when they need your help, but forget you exist when the job is done. Or relationships where one person keeps giving attention, affection, and care, while the other takes it as entitlement. This is how emotional exhaustion begins. You keep thinking that if you're friendlier, if you try harder, they'll finally love you back. But love doesn't bloom from effort alone, it blooms from reciprocity. It's not about how many times you say yes, but how many times they say I understand. Sometimes, being too friendly gives people the wrong permission. Permission to overstep, to disrespect, to misunderstand your boundaries. Because when you always smile, they assume you'll always forgive. When you're always available, they assume you have no limits. That's why love demands boundaries. Don't confuse kindness with surrender. Don't let your warmth become your weakness. A woman once said, I gave him laughter, he gave me silence. That sentence holds an entire universe. Many hearts break, not because they were unloved, but because they were over-friendly with those who didn't deserve it. You can't heal in places where your light is dimmed for others' comfort. You can't grow where your kindness is mistaken for foolishness. And you can't feel loved when you're constantly performing friendship instead of receiving understanding. Being friendly is like opening your door to the world, but not everyone who enters is meant to stay. Some people just walk through to escape their storms, others leave behind footprints of gratitude. Learn to tell the difference. Don't shut your heart, but build a lock that only real love can open. Because when love is real, you don't have to entertain it. It stays even when the friendliness fades. There's nothing wrong with being friendly. It's one of the most divine traits of a good soul. But when friendliness becomes your survival, when you use it to be liked, when you wear it to hide your loneliness, that's when it becomes dangerous. You start bending, pretending, and losing yourself to maintain peace that isn't even real. The truth is, love doesn't require constant friendliness. Love accepts your silence, your flaws, your tired days. Love doesn't need a smile to stay. It stays because it knows your worth beyond your cheerfulness. So be friendly, but don't sell your soul for acceptance. Be warm, but don't burn yourself to keep others comfortable. Be kind, but not blind. The world needs your light, but it doesn't deserve your exhaustion. Remember, love isn't found in how many people you please. It's found in who still chooses you when you have nothing left to give but truth. And now, my friend, listen closely. Because this is where the truth hits home. The world will always tell you, be nice, be available, be friendly. But remember this, your soul is not a public park for everyone to enter and leave at will. You are not meant to be everywhere, for everyone, all the time. You are meant to be that selective with your energy, deliberate with your kindness, and fierce with your boundaries. There comes a moment when your spirit whispers, enough pretending, enough pleasing, enough smiling through the pain just to keep others comfortable. Because there's power in your silence, there's dignity in your distance, and there's peace in your self-respect. When you stop chasing people to stay, something divine happens. Your energy starts attracting those who never needed to be convinced. You see, being friendly is easy, but being real takes courage. It's easy to give pieces of yourself away to everyone who knocks on your door. But greatness begins the day you start saying no without guilt, and buy without fear, and deserve better without hesitation. That's the moment your worth stops being negotiable. Let the world misunderstand you. Let them call you cold, distant, arrogant. You don't owe anyone access to your peace just to prove you have a heart. A lion doesn't explain its silence in the jungle. It simply stands, and the world recognizes its power. Be that lion. Guard your heart with grace. Move in silence and let your presence speak louder than your friendliness ever could. The truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep giving light to people who live comfortably in your shadows. Some people only love you when you make them feel loved and vanish when you need that love back. But your value is not measured by how much you give. It's measured by how much you and keep for yourself. Because self-love is not selfish. It's sacred. You want to change your life? Stop over-explaining, stop over-giving, stop overstaying. The most powerful people in this world are not those who shout. They are the ones who choose peace over attention, purpose over popularity, and self-respect over validation. Don't beg anyone to understand your worth. Let your growth make the noise. Maybe you've been that person, too kind, too forgiving, too available, and maybe it broke you, but let me remind you, broken crayons still color beautifully. Scars are just stories that healed. Don't let the pain make you bitter. Let it make you wiser. Don't let rejection make you small. Let it refine your standard. You are not too much. You've just been giving too much to the wrong people. So rise, not softly, but fiercely. Rise with that quiet confidence that says, I know who I am and I know what I deserve. Stop being the person who's always there for everyone while no one shows up for you. Stop giving your time to people who wouldn't even notice your absence. Remember that everyone deserves your presence. Some people only teach you how to walk away. Life will test you. It will place you in rooms where your silence will be mocked and your kindness will be mistaken for weakness. But stay grounded, because one day the same people who underestimated you will whisper your name with respect. You don't have to prove your worth to be worthy. You don't have to chase to be chosen. You don't have to speak to be heard. And when you finally learn that love doesn't need to be begged for, that peace doesn't require permission, and that real connections don't demand constant availability, you become unstoppable. You glow differently when you stop trying to be liked and start choosing to be respected. So hold your head high, straighten your crown, remember this line and carry it with you wherever you go. I am not for everyone, and that's my superpower. Because the moment you stop being too friendly with everyone, you'll discover something extraordinary. And the right people will never need you to be anything other than yourself.